Do you ever look at other Christians sometimes and think that they're doing so much more for the Lord, or perhaps accomplishing more for the Lord than you are? It might be that you feel trapped by your circumstances and you're thinking, if only I had this or that, I could do more for God. But don't forget, if God wants you to have it, the thing you're thinking about, He will give it to you. He's not mean. It may just be that the things that you think you need, He knows that you don't need right now, because perhaps you're accomplishing more for Him than you realise in the position you're in now. And by having a lot, the thing that you're thinking about, you could miss what God's doing in your situation right now. Now listen to this. This is Matthew 14:13-21. When Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. Hearing of this, the crowds followed him on foot from the towns. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them and healed their sick. As evening approached, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a remote place and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away, then they can go to the villages and buy themselves some food." Jesus replied, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat." "We have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish," they answered. "Bring them to me," he said. And he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. The number of those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. Now, perhaps you've got the equivalent of 5 loaves and 2 fish that you could give to the Lord. It didn't sound like a lot, did it? The disciples must have thought, what are we supposed to do with this? But God can do a lot with a little if it's given to Him. Maybe you have just the thing that's needed for a situation that's coming up. You know, the Lord sees, He plans our circumstances, and if we walk with Him, we can walk right into something that He's set up for us. It might be that you've got the word that someone needs to hear. It might be that somebody needs someone to spend a bit of time with them and to help them. The Lord could put you in that place at that time. Or it could be that He's calling you to spend more time in the Word to prepare you for a ministry that He's got for you. But whatever it is, He won't dangle a carrot in front of you and then take it away. He has a plan for you, and He'll enable you to fulfil it. Like the feeding of the 5,000, the 5 loaves and 2 fish were wanted by the Lord for that miracle. Maybe you have something that when it's given to the Lord, it will be the start of a miracle. It may not seem much, but what would 3 sports cars or a private jet or anything else have done in that situation? The people wanted food, and that's what was needed. But whatever we give to the Lord, whether it's a little or a lot, it does take faith, especially if it's going to cost you to give it. But if your faith's in God and not in yourself, and you don't start to worry about it, if you look to God and give it to Him and watch what He'll do with it, you'll be okay, because God can do a lot with a little when it's given to Him.